we were just going to cover silver squeeze, like tell people, hey, this is what happened last year. You're saying premiums are already higher today than at any point that weekend last year when the market actually broke. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're much higher. It's simple to look at the chart. They're much higher today than they were during silver squeeze. It's because of silver squeeze that they started to rise again. And the fact that they are still up means that the silver squeeze is continuing.
Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics with my sidekick of Arcadia Economics, Rafi Farber, who will not comply. Rafi, quite a lot going on in the world. We're Sunday morning here, at least in Mexico time. And just wanted to get a quick update before we continue on. We were just planning to show coverage of what happened last year's Silver Squeeze weekend. And now we have Justin Trudeau, the man running Canada, at least the public face of it, is on the run after truckers shut down Ottawa. This isn't Uganda or some country. This is Canada right on top of the US, where a lot of the silver comes from. So Rafi, anyway, to kick things off Sunday, we may go live later, but what can you say there that, and also talk about the premiums, please?
Well, the first thing that people should keep in mind, the silverbacks, the gold bugs, all the sound money community, is that everything is all connected and it all goes back to inflation. Because when the government can inflate the money supply over the gold and silver supply, then it can spend and spend, and tyranny increases and increases until the people get fed up. So when we have a revolt against government tyranny, that is also a revolt against inflation, because inflation causes tyranny. It is all one circle. So in Canada, if the truckers can really get him out, or at least get him to behave, and it spreads to other countries, hopefully to Australia, maybe to Europe, hopefully, please God, to Israel, and people become freed, then it is a liberty fire that cannot be doused. And the center of liberty is sound money and monetary freedom. It's all the same equation. We look at the monetary side of it, this is the political side of it, but it will all come crashing down together, and the entire inflationary edifice will melt away, just like Trudeau is melting away when people get the courage and understand that they are really in control. It's all a psychological game, just like money is.
It's I don't even know how to put it into words, what we've seen happen in the last 12 hours, let alone prior to that. Although with all this happening, one thing I'm thinking is that this is Canada, where a lot of silver comes from. A lot of silver is owned and stored. You've talked on your silver reports about the supply chain. We've heard Andy Sheckman and others talk about the silver supply chain. I've talked about how fragile it is. We're seeing now like goods that people have been used to for 40 years, not on the shelves. What would you say about silver in regards to this trucking situation, Rafi?
Well, yeah, Canada is one of the centers of silver in the world. The PSLV ETF Sprott, who's one of the better people at the head of this industry. His ETF is PSLV is headquartered in Canada. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know if there's going to be like a coup d'etat in terms of everything flipping over and chaos in Canada. I think it'd be much better if Trudeau were out of office, and things would be better there for supply chain and everything else, because once he's out, then the supply chain improves because all these mandates go away. But the thing is, once the supply chain gets freed up throughout the world, and the world goes back to some sort of economic normalcy in terms of goods moving around the planet, you still have all of the backed up money that was printed since 2020, and all of a sudden it comes flowing out. So when the global economy gets freed up, when all these tyrants go away, and they will eventually, then you'll see the huge effect that all this money printing had on the system. Because even if the tyrants go away, all the money that they printed is not going to go away. It's going to get used, and then the value of it falls. So it's coming whether they get overthrown or not. But if they get overthrown, it'll be quicker. That's what I think. And regarding the premiums, yeah, I mean, if you look at junk silver premiums, especially 90% junk silver, I'll share the screen with you right now. Let's see here. Here it is. This is 90% junk silver since 2008 premiums, and this is just silver. It's not any numismatic value or anything. So it gives you the best price for what the market is doing right now. In 2008, you saw here it was record 40% premiums, because in 2008 everyone freaks out about money, and you see here another peak in 2016, the beginning of 2016. That was bear market bottom for gold and silver. And here again, 35% in 2020, just the beginning of the COVID era. And here at this low right here, this is silver squeeze. This pop up right here at the beginning of 2020, that is silver squeeze, and it has continued to climb since silver squeeze. It hit a high of about 18%, bottomed here around 14.5%. Now it's heading higher again. I think it will reach a new high. Question is, are we going to go above 2020 highs? I think eventually, yes. And I think it'll be this year when the supply really starts to get squeezed, as the silver squeeze movement is trying to do.
Yeah, and Rafi, perhaps the last one before we wrap up here. We've talked a lot over the last couple of days. Thursday morning when silver was down $1, I was reviewing your report where you're mentioning the premium spiking, and I'm thinking, well, physical silver price is going higher, while the COMEX price is going lower and the SLV price is going lower. This is what we've always talked about, where there will be some day where it will just be the price of physical. It won't be like, what's the premium? Because no one will care about the COMEX. An institution that acts and is protected by people like Justin Trudeau, Ross Benham, who are MIA. Ross Benham's been MIA, at least from our standpoint, for a long time. And now that the questions are coming to Justin Trudeau, he's disappearing. So Rafi, I guess the last thing, I mean, now, we were just going to cover silver squeeze, like tell people, hey, this is what happened last year. You're saying premiums are already higher today than at any point that weekend last year when the market actually broke. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're much higher. It's simple to look at the chart. They're much higher today than they were during silver squeeze. It's because of silver squeeze that they started to rise again. And the fact that they are still up means that the silver squeeze is continuing. If it wasn't, then premiums would go down, because the whole idea behind silver squeeze is to buy physical silver. And when you have an increase in demand for physical silver, premiums go up. You could also just look at it, instead of as a premium, as a discount for futures. Because really, when you look at a dollar or any other fiat currency, which originally was silver backed, when you had, even before futures existed, when the value of a dollar went down, or the value of any currency that was silver backed went down, that means the public was losing trust in the currency and they wanted physical silver. But that's the whole idea of any run on any currency, is always a discount on the paper in favor of the physical that is supposed to back it. So now the unit is futures. It used to be currency, but it's all the same stuff.
Yeah, and Rafi, we were talking before. Again, I have an option trading background, and we were taught to look for the arbitrages, where there's comparable things that you can trade in and out of. And last question along those lines, I would say that when you factor in that we've had 2 years of 7, 8, 9, or 1 year of those higher inflation prints, God only knows what the real numbers are, that given the context and the actual dollar supply out there, which we don't see that, you have to think about it, but would you say that silver today at $23 or whatever it is, I mean, we know it's cheaper than a year ago when people were buying it and the market broke. But I would say, and I'm asking if you would agree and think it's fair that silver at $23 today, this is actually cheaper, a better deal than silver at $12 when COVID first started, given what we know now. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that, because back before COVID, there was no clear timeline, or it was very blurry as to when the value of currency, the value of a dollar would fall. We all knew it was because we see the debt statistics and the spending statistics and everything they're doing to destroy money substitutes and currency. But there was no clear vertical line that was going straight up until COVID, and then that hit. So now that we have price inflation really starting to kick in, back in 1980, the money supply was maybe a 20th of what it is now. It's some tiny number of what it is, and it's still below where it was in 1980. If you want to know what the gold or silver standard price for silver will be, then you would take the monetary ratio of 15-1, which is where silver typically heads when people clamor for precious metals. And then you would take the Fed's balance sheet divided by the amount of gold in Fort Knox, and you get about $40,000 for gold at today's balance sheet. Divide that by 15, you get the silver price. What's that for divided by 15? I don't even know. It's close to that. It's somewhere between $500 and $1,000 an ounce for silver. That would be the 1980 price, and that's where we're headed.
Well, it's going to be quite interesting to see how all of this unfolds. Again, one thing maybe perhaps I would like to point out before we wrap up. I think it's fair for me to say I can understand, certainly, more or less than anybody else, but that this is a very difficult situation with a lot of emotion out there. I can understand, rightly so, a lot of people are very angry at Justin Trudeau and people like him. I hope that at least if anyone is wondering my opinion, please be peaceful. This is unfolding. There are people in place who are taking action and doing things. So I would encourage people to continue doing what you're doing in a peaceful way, and sending prayers, because it's cried quite a bit last night, thinking how sad it is that the world has come to this. Although in terms of at least silver, if you want to know how any of this stuff is going to unfold and why we've been doing this, well, there is the big silver short in the book that I put out a couple of years ago. Rafi, I wish I'd had, we'll have to get you as one of the chapters for the big silver short part 2. I mean, a lot's happened since the first book came out, but either case, appreciate what you stand for, that you are standing up and speaking out. I can't imagine what this is like for you. You're, I guess the term Orthodox Jewish would be correct, Rafi?
Yeah, you could put whatever label, but I don't really fit into anything. Yeah, I'm a religious Jew, but it's very difficult seeing how Jews are treating each other in this country. We have a green pass here. There's segregation. It was just extended by another 2 weeks, and it's difficult to watch and have my kids isolated from other kids that are, that did certain medical things that mine didn't do, because I won't comply. But look, everything passes. Everything is temporary. We'll all get through it. We're going through another phase of it right now. They're chasing Trudeau. They'll chase Scott Morrison, whoever's in charge of Australia. They'll get the prime minister here. Eventually, they'll all be gone, and this will all be over. And it'll be peacefully. It will be peacefully. I don't see any big conflicts coming. Please God, no. But yeah, we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think that's the best part. For a long time, I've always, maybe not always, but it felt there could be something beautiful on the other side of this. And I think that's thanks to people like you, Rafi, and the other people who are standing up courageously at this important time in the world. So thanks for checking in on a Sunday morning. I'm sure we'll be checking back in with you quite a bit over the next few days, maybe even later tonight. But I'm going to go get this one posted, and you just stay safe out there. And I appreciate all that you're doing, Rafi.
You too, Chris.